he's larger than life, and like he's always laughing and smiling, and he's loud, and he like makes you feel like you're awesome. And I'm like, how old are you, kid? And he's he's crushing it now. He's got a ton of followers. There's a lot of little kids that are, you watch the little kids do jiu-jitsu and you're like, this is going to be bad in 10 years.
Yeah, there's this girl you guys have training who's a phenom. I think she's like a teenager.
Yeah, Helena.
Yeah.
So Helena just took silver at ADCC. She's the youngest competitor ever to make the finals at ADCC. She lost by points to Ana Vieira, Adolfo's sister. But she is so talented. It's so insane. And it's messed up because like you can't get your brown belt until you're 18 and your black belt until 19 for IBJJF. So she took silver at blue belt. John gave her a purple belt. So like now she has to go, and she's still 17, so she can still compete in the teens divisions.
Oh Jesus!
Like for these random
That's
tournaments.
not even fair.
So like she took silver at ADCC, but then she like goes to a tournament, and they make her do like teen purple belt.
Jesus,
so she's fighting like 16 and 17-year-olds at purple belt after she just like took silver. So she goes into like these random tournaments, and she just like submits people in 30 seconds.
Yeah, just too easy.
But training with her is like training with a man. You have to take her seriously, otherwise she like will break your leg. Like she will strangle you. She will like pass your guard. Like her grips are so sticky. She's so isometrically strong. She's so well positioned. It's like an actual hard match to deal with her. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've never trained with her, but when a girl makes you work hard, it's like frustrating. You're like, oh shit.
It was funny one day. I always make fun of Gary for not being able to pass guard, because Gary's like never been a guy who like really put effort into like learning how to pass people's guards. And I was making fun of him one day for passing, for not being able to pass guard. And he's like, actually, I did pass someone's guard today. And he's like, oh, but this is going to sound so bad, but it's not at the same time. He's like, I passed Helena's guard. And I'm just like, we all started laughing, because it's like, okay, so like you pass a 17-year-old girl's guard, but at the same time, her guard is so hard to pass that it's actually impressive. So we both just started laughing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think guard passing, I think you probably have the best guard passing in the world. You mix the passing so well between like the low passing I do, but you have that kind of floating system that I think you kind of created that, or did John create that?
Yeah. It's kind of a mix of, obviously there was like leg pommeling and stuff, but like I created kind of like a system to floating by the legs. And one thing that no one ever talks about me, that no one ever mentions about me, which is actually the foundation of my passing game, is that I can hold people down. Like there's no jiu-jitsu guys that can hold anybody down. That's why when guys go to MMA, they're used to just playing cagey, and then they take a guy down, they have no idea how to hold him down. Like when I put guys down, like they'd never get up. Like when I got on top of Andre, he like fought for his life to get up, and he never was able to get up.
No, that's true, because most MMA, I'm pretty good at getting to my feet. So usually jiu-jitsu guys take me down, I'm like, no problem. But you keep the pressure, you ride. Even when you do the up passage, you keep like head over head, so you can't stand up. A lot of guys don't understand that concept.
You're actually the reason why I got good at that, because I was training with Jake for 2017 ADCC camp, and we were doing closed guard rounds, like our specific training. And up until that point, I hadn't really trained with many MMA guys. It was like I would train with George, but George like wants to do jiu-jitsu when he comes in to train. So he would always stay at bottom position. Every time I would go with Jake from closed guard, he'd unlock his legs, he'd push my hips, and he would just stand up. And I was getting so upset. Every time it would be like, okay, we have a war, I'm on bottom, and then like either he passes my guard or I sweep him, whatever the case is. Then the second I get on top, boom, he explodes out, and 3 seconds later he's standing up. And I wanted to kill myself. So finally, I'm like, I go over to John after one of the sessions, and I'm like, dude, I need to fucking be able to hold people. How the fuck can I hold this guy down? And then John started teaching me. He's like, okay, like you have to split the legs, and you get to these positions, and he kind of cultivated that ability for me, and now I can hold people down. So Jake is the reason for that. So
I didn't know why you got so good at it, but that's good. I'm glad I helped.
Yeah, the reason for everyone getting crushed underneath me when you compete, you guys can thank Jake Shields.
Right, because remember I used to be able to get up, and all of a sudden you stop me. I'm just like, damn it, he's figuring it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, you do a good job of like floating, and you drop down to the body lock passing, and you mix it perfect.
Yeah, once you get control of the hips or the head and shoulders, then it's like kind of a done deal, or it should be.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. And a lot of guys are good at, they're good at one or the other. They're good at the floating passing or the body lock passing. Most guys aren't good at both.
Yeah.
I think that's
you gotta be good at both, because like a lot of times you can't you can't get chest to chest. You can't get a body lock, so you have to like threaten Toriandos and then use the Toriandos to get into half guard chest to chest, or use the Toriandos to get them to open up and then go into your body lock. So you gotta kind of get creative and combine everything when the guys start getting higher and higher level.
Yeah, no, training with you, because I've always been really good at the body lock passing, which for MMA, that's the best kind of passing. Guys can't get up, but I started working a lot more. They're trying to mix that floating passing in, the feeding the feet over, all the stuff you do.
Because you can still hold them down, and you can chain the heavy hands. Like you can post your hands on the floor and you can pummel your legs, but you can also sit back and start punching people.
Exactly.
Whereas if you have body locks, you can control them really well, but you can't really do damage until you unlock your hands.
The problem with some passing for jiu-jitsu, the guys could just stand up if you start running around, and that's what when we're doing the way John does it. If you stand up, it counts as a win. So it's like that passing doesn't really work for that game.
Yeah, that was like that's been a big thing, because my whole thing is my entire career guys are trying to stall against me because they know I'm so dangerous. So eventually I would just like, let me just put him on bottom, because you can't stall from bottom. Yeah. So it's either, pull guard, get on top, or take the guy down, and now there's no stalling. Now you have to engage.
That's an excellent point. A lot of your matches, guys aren't really trying to win. They're just trying to survive.
Yeah, they're trying to not lose.
Yeah, and you still have such a high submission rate.
Yeah.
You had some matches where you even wrote down what you were going to submit them with before.
Yeah, we had a few of those. We did, I did it with Roberto. I said I was going to armbar him, and I mounted armbar. Hit a mounted armbar. I did it with Wagner. He was number 1 ranked in the world at his weight class at the time. I put a triangle in an envelope, said I was going to do triangle. Did it to Patrick Gaudio with the armbar. I did it to Halleck Gracie. I actually had a bet with a buddy of mine. It was a $4,000 bet when I fought Halleck that I couldn't. He said submit him between 10 and 12 minutes with an armbar or a triangle, and I'll give you an extra $4,000. And I'm like, I'll do it between 10 and 11. And I finished him with a triangle in 10.5 minutes.
Perfect. That's crazy. No. So we'll finish up in a few minutes, but let's go through all this time winning all these worlds. You've had, or not the whole time, but for the last several years, you've had some pretty serious stomach illness.
Yeah.
So when did that start?